Welcome in, everybody, to Pattern, the first climate change talk show. I'm Jordan Steele.
And I'm Felicia Combs, in for Steph Abrams. Now, have you been avoiding going outside because of how hot it is? I know a lot of you
2
have.
o'clock? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it's too hot for that. We know it's supposed to be hot in the summertime, but it's not supposed to be this hot.
Yeah, in fact, Earth experienced its 3 hottest days just last week. And last summer, it was actually really deadly hot for much.
This month has been off the charts. The list of extreme weather events around the globe is just bananas. It has our friends at Weather Underground asking, what's up with that? Mike's face is all of us. You made a really good point, though. Behind all the TV and the camera and the makeup, we're all just really big weather nerds wanting to talk about it constantly.
That's right.
Well, Mike, Alex, and Dr. Nab, they do have a point. What is really up with the extreme weather, and how's climate change making it worse?
Yeah, so we got storm specialist Carl Parker talking to us about all things weather-related. Carl, you've been studying climate change for years now, trying to look at patterns. Can we link all of this, all the what's up with that, and say, yep, this is climate change in front of our eyes?
Well, I think there are a lot of different things that are happening. Other things that I just talked about, meteorological factors, the volcanoes, all means that every time you're in an up phase for what...
Let's talk about it, because I feel like everyone is probably feeling the same at this point, where it's like extreme heat, extreme storms, extreme flooding. Are there any bright spots that we can look for?
Yeah, there are a lot of real bright spots right now. Energy is that it's getting cheaper than fossil fuels, is a really exciting development. Another really important thing is that for the longest time we talked about to net zero and reduce our emissions, we're probably going to see a reversal of these effects. So hopefully we can get...
Because you said we go up and down, and then you mentioned some of the things going on, whether it's natural factors, and the multi-million-dollar question is it human-caused, is it not? So with what you just said, we're going up.
And that's the latest research, that if we begin to cool things off a little bit. So,
and then eventually we'll have a whole new problem, figuring out how low do we go.
Well, yeah, it's probably going to be a long...
And that's happened fast,
yeah,
like you said.
But there are a lot of little things that people can do to help. There is so much energy that goes into every single bite of food, and to all of that stuff. That's all in every single bite. And we throw out about 40% of our food.
So if I asked to finish your plate, if you didn't eat it all at the restaurant, don't think it's weird. It's climate related.
No, it's like when I'm like, I know I didn't order fries, but can I have one of yours?
I know.
I'm helping the planet.
Carl Parker,
exactly.
Thank you so much.
You got
it. Really eye-opening for so many of us. All right, we know we got a lot more climate-related topics to talk about, and for that we go to Rachel. The weather update in just a moment. There's something bubbling near your home, in your neighborhood, and maybe even under your school. Got to show you some video. I'm going to... Reed Calhoun is the CEO of Climate Wells, joining us now to maybe talk about helping plug these wells up. Reed, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it. You started Climate Wells because of a personal experience with one of the abandoned wells. Can you tell us real quick what happened there?
Yeah.
So what's that process like of safely plugging a well?
It's actually very straightforward.
Totally. I mean, I want to go back.
Yeah.
No idea.
I'm shocked there are that many orphaned wells. Do you have a number on how many you guys have actually plugged, and where are most of these located?
Yeah. So you can think about it this way. You have
like a homeowner or a resident.
We got an email the other day.
It's a crazy need we had no idea we needed to fix. So you're out there trying to hammer that. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Reed Calhoun from Climate Wells. Wow.
One more thing to think about. Isn't that crazy?
It makes sense, though, but I was like, I had no idea. All right, we do got to get a weather update and check in with Ray to see what's going on.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Hey, if you guys are visiting Florida this week, you may notice extra photogenic sunrises and sunsets, but the gorgeous view.
Welcome back to Pattern. Dangerous smoke from wildfires is no longer just a West Coast problem. We've seen air quality alerts from the Midwest to the East Coast because of fires this summer.
So could we reduce the amount of smoke we're seeing by letting more fires burn? Kind of a weird question, right? Sounds crazy, but it's a real solution, as reporter Danya Backus from our partners at CBS explained. And coming up a little later on Pattern, all that smoke is hurting our
air quality concern here in the U.S. this week. A plume of dust from the Sahara has made its long journey across the Atlantic, and it's hitting Florida.
And now, while this is a normal occurrence, it does have some impacts on our environment and our health. Take a look at this.
On behalf of all Floridians, I just want to say some of my best sunrise and sunset pictures were because of Saharan dust.
That's right.
It's not all bad. Well, it's not all bad at all, but it's
for more stories like this,
we've got to keep an eye on the weather because it could get a little feisty today.
Yeah,
it already has been, actually.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A couple of storms out there, and I love showing the satellite picture, the visible.
That's some hail that will do some damage. Thanks, Ray. Well, we're not just feeling the summer.
Everybody, you're home for the latest news in climate change and sustainability. I'm Jordan Steele.
And I'm Felicia Combs, in for Steph Abrams. We want to get straight into today's hot topics. This is one of my favorites. We've all been talking about this. Now, baby turtles, they have a rough time as soon as they hatch. They're tasked with finding their homes in oceans or marshes, and they're just babies. But a team of dry cleaners in Middletown, Connecticut noticed that struggle, and they decided to help.
Struggle would be real today. You know, it's like, this direction, please. This is where you need to go.
It's like when you're on the plane.
Right.
I think this is the perfect example of, like, we can't fix all the harm that we've done, but we can try to help a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I have a turtle story. I was home. We were like, oh my gosh. Let's
This was the turtle that Jordan caught.
Freaking out. You're right. A slow mover. We made this little, we decided we need to do the right thing, go let it back out to where it needs to belong, into the wild, right?
What kind of house did you make for the turtle?
It was just like, we could house this thing. But the good story out of all this is we put it back to where it belongs in its home, and that's what these guys are doing as well. They're
and
just
then when you put it back, it was like...
Exactly.
Oh, wait, I thought you were going to look at me.
Let's talk cars for a second. Lamborghinis, they're about to get a lot quieter. Car brand announced it's phasing out its combustion engine or so.
I guess I'll just have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, just a little bit longer.
Just a little bit longer.
But this goes to what Carl Parker was talking about,
right?
How it was taking place, and even some of the fastest cars in the industry, how the consumer is going to take with that. Because
once you get still that feeling that you can still get from like a hybrid or an EV.
Don't need the sound anymore.
I'm speaking for myself, but I think the sound is really incredibly annoying. Like, it's so loud.
Yeah, good to know.
Yeah, just personally, just letting you all know, personally. Like, if your car's that loud, what are you trying to overcompensate for?
I don't know.
A bad personality, I bet. Just kidding. Anyways, strawberries are a summertime staple, but believe it or not, the way we grow them might be bad for the planet. Here's something like this. Did you know that?
Well, yeah, because, every year you could go strawberry picking, which I was going to tell you, that's something. But what I didn't realize is when you have the plastic covering, which then protects it, right, almost like a greenhouse type environment for it, it breaks down. You read stories about some of these forever chemicals being in the fish in our waters, being in our water. Why?
It makes me wonder, like, how the scales balance that out. How much does that plastic help the strawberries versus how much it's hurting in the long run? You
go back decades upon decades, we've been growing strawberries without it. Mother Nature has without that plastic. So
they still made it.
Anyway, we're finding ways to actually have to reverse the timetable on this one. Yeah. All right, well, still ahead on Pattern. Who could forget?
Welcome back to Pattern. Smoke from wildfires has been a persistent problem in parts of the U.S. for months now. Even today, it's an issue. Just take a look at today's air quality monitor. There are lots of cities where you probably don't even...
Exposure to wildfire smoke can be dangerous for anyone who is pregnant. Dr. Nathaniel DiNicola is an environmental health expert for the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, joining us here to talk about how the smoke impacts, the baby, the mother. Thank you so much for being with us, doctor. And I guess let's just go into what kind of impact that has on our bodies and the baby in the womb.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me.
We don't want anyone to panic. We don't want anyone to think if they walk outside for one day that you could have these issues. So what is that threshold between where, being exposure to wildfire danger is kind of harmful versus it's getting very dangerous?
Right.
Those tools, like what if they have to be outside? What if for some reason?
Right. Yeah. So I know we just came out of COVID.
Then I always think about, is breathing through your nose better than breathing through your mouth in a situation like that?
Yeah, we don't have specific advice there.
Daniel DiNicola, thanks so much for joining us. I know that's at the forefront of a lot of people's minds, even if you aren't pregnant.
It's hard, man.
You kind of are coughing a little bit, and you're like, wait, what's wrong? Am I getting sick? And then you check that air quality, and you realize air quality is terrible.
I mean, you stay inside for as long as you can, and then you go crazy in there enough. You've got the filter in there, which help things out as well. It's just like these wildfires are so massive, and they impact so many cities.
Yeah.
For more stories like this, make sure you guys check out. Welcome back to Pattern, everybody. Well, earlier this month, the world hit its hottest day ever recorded. 3 days in a row, actually. And that heat isn't just impacting us here on land.
Yeah.
It's Reef Awareness Week, and there are a lot of ways that you can help reefs thrive.
Now, some of them are a little unconventional, like sinking your old toilet into the water. Well, anything that helps the oysters, I'm a big fan of.
I'm glad that they crushed it down and then remade. I thought they were just going to throw it in
things
there.
were the toilet.
I
I thought that's what that was. I was like, did they drill?
No, this is a much better method.
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
I like that.
Hey, tomorrow on Pattern, you know her best.
Keep an eye on the tropics. 'Tis that time of year. I will say it's been quiet-ish thus far, Ray.
It has been, but when you say something going in the Atlantic, heading toward the islands,
Yeah.
let's just say for now, stay tuned. And we get into August, we get into September, the peak September 10th. There's a long way to go, but I bet you if you asked anybody what storm name is next, I bet you most people wouldn't know.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Thanks so much.